Now that we are happy with the exterior of our knife, how this is going to sit here, or basically happy, right? Yeah. We're going to mark our welt. Now, we're going to put a double stitch in this. We need, I think a double. Let me check that order. We need at least 1/8 of an inch of welt, in my opinion, on both sides of the stitch. So if this were a single stitch, I would mark this line at 1/4 of an inch. Give myself plenty of room, because I can always trim off the outside. I'm going to go 1/2. And you see how that's still not touching my blade. Now, if you want to make this perfect to yours, make it about a 1/16 off of the blade. And that's about what I'm going to have there. About 1/8 off the blade. You don't want your welt touching your blade. Why? Well, that's a good question. A damp welt sitting against a carbon blade, you already see where I'm going with this one, is a rust bomb waiting to happen. Nothing worse than in, drizzly weather, sticking your knife in there, pulling out at the end of the night, and you got a rust bomb. I don't care how much patina you forced, yo. You're gonna have a rusty knife. So all the way around here, making 1/2 inch marks, because I'm really custom making this welt. And I'm marking where the welt is going to sit, so when I glue this welt in, I don't end up with glue on the inside of the sheath where it shouldn't be. Okay? So I'm marking just with dotted lines. I can connect these, but I don't really need to. 1/2 inch. Flaring a little bit at the tip. At the opening now, it's just kind of my thing. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. Alright, so that basically gives that a look. So, boop, all the way around. Now, that welt then, it can sit in right like so, with a little bit of trimming. And the trimming I gotta do is straighten that out. I have to make sure it's gonna sit in there parallel or flush against the inside. You don't want to in or cant it or whatever else. We'll talk about that in a little bit more. And then I'm going to make a cut to here and take that off there. I do not need to worry about how fat this is yet. I'll show you that. So we're going to worry about the inside of the welt, the business side of the welt. Just said I need to put that pen away and I didn't even put her away. I'm a rebel, dude. Can't hold me. Alright, so that's got to go basically like that. That's good. Okay, now check it out. If we were to fold that around, ugly. First of all, we get a big fat tip, No bueno. Only good if you're a waitress is a fat tip, yo. So, we need to take a little off of this welt. We don't want to take it all the way off. The welt protects the stitching from the blade on the inside. In case the blade runs, but it's not cutting your stitching, it hits the welt first. It kind of guides it in, tells it where it's going to go. We don't need to take all this off though. So what we need to do is just take some off. We need to taper it down to basically pretty thin down here at the end. So I can take it about at the bend. In theory, you could slowly take it right at the handle. Slowly take it down, but I find that to be a bit anal. Retentive. You need a skiver. Skive. I've always said skive. I don't know. Maybe it's skiv. Skivvies. Maybe, I don't know. Drink time. Cheers to everybody out there. Oh yeah, that's good stuff right there, boy. Okay. This is a safety skiver. Don't buy, where is that piece of junk? Man, I don't know, maybe, I can't get this thing to run. Get this, it's way cheaper, and I can seem to get it to work. It's just an old Gillette razor blade in here, on kind of an angle, and you can't, I suppose you can cut yourself, but it keeps you a lot more safe. I guess maybe they had skivers in the past that were like scary skivers. I think they just used basically blades. So, some people use head knife. See what that does there? When you have a sharp blade. When you don't have a sharp blade, it's like cutting concrete. Stupid. I'm feathering this down. skiving. And I'm only doing a little bit of it. If I was taking it off the whole piece, it would be splitting. I swear, these cowboys had a million flipping names. And they usually have like 3 names for the same thing, too. Oh, that's a bend, a split, a back, a double shoulder. Oh, just stop. And they have weird, this is mixed from other countries. A culotta. What the heck's a culotta? It sounds like something I'd drink, man. Oh, it's a type of cut. Whatever. You be dealing, bro. All right. Back to this. Okay, so see what I did. Chaggy. Where's my knife? You need a welt that is as fat as your blade, or in reality, about 75% of your blade, to be effective. I've got it as fat as my welt, 1/8 and 1/8. And see how that drops right down? Bam, 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 bam. That's going to make sense, right? That's going to disappear right into that end of that knife there. Now, you always end with these fat little fuzzies when you skive. Don't leave that trash. Clean it up. If you're going to do this, do it. Be an artisan, Any chump with a fork and a freaking awl can make a sheath. But do it right, yo. Make a good sheath. Okay, we're money, dude. I'm kind of excited about that. I need to trim this back a little bit. Change this up a little bit, yo. All right, so we have made this mark. I'm just double checking everything. I check it so many times I might as well just call it triple check, constant check, whatever. Okay, we don't have to worry about that too much. I'm going to make this cut here. And that will make more sense in just a little bit. So our welt is sitting pretty. But before I put that in, I'm going to put my maker's mark on. You probably don't have one yet, and that is just fine. That is just fine. Yeah, that looks good. I got to put my maker's mark in, and then another little vanity mark. So let's do this. Like Brutus, because I always knew this. All right. We're going to put this knife back in. Pad that. It's right about there. That's cool because I got all my marks made. I know where that's going to go. That's going to go right about there. Now, you don't want this belt loop, when you're sewing this belt loop on, you don't want it to go past the handle mark where you end up bending right where you're going to stitch, and it's going to put pressure on there. It's unnecessary. You don't need to. Stitch it where the handle is, in my opinion. It makes for the strongest attachment. Well, I want my maker's mark to be on a flat part, so I'm going to want that right about here. Okay? So I'm going to take that. I've got to dampen it. Oh, shocker. I've got to dampen it again. Okay. Again, this is not casing. If I were doing carving and things like this, I would be doing casing. If you want to know what the difference is, read a book on the subject. Casing is when you dampen your leather and let it sort of cure in a way. You set it, it's conditioning the leather. Put that away. Put that away. Here is my maker's mark. You don't, man, I'm telling you, you don't need to buy one. You can get whatever you want to get. Here's when I grabbed it for, making Andy's stuff. A little spider there because he's Fiddleback Forge. If you're so inclined, you can grab one of these crosses or whatever. That can be your little design. Gary Grayley, again, he's made a ton of sheaths, way more than I've made. And he uses a regular tooling embosser that says G2, Gary Grayley, G2. So that, I think that looks cool. I really do. Another thing you can do is just make your own. Grab a 16-penny nail. Something like that, take a file, make it into a delta symbol like I did for mine, Diomedes Industries. That's a lowercase delta. I used to do that. Ting, and it's just a triangle, essentially. Looks good. So, do it your way, man. Where's that gonna bend? There we go. All right, so I'm money there. I want to set that up and have it be legit. Now, I got an arbor press to do this, but you ain't gonna have that, so whatever tool you gonna use. Put it there and give it the whammer hammer. Ow! Now that's one you do not want to hit more than once. Boom! And I still hit it a little too hard. Why not more than once? Man, you will bounce that thing in a heartbeat. Trying to line that back up most times can be very difficult. So I'm going to do it. I'm a rebel. I want to get that bottom a little bit. Let's see if I jump. You don't want to jump there. Maker's mark. It looks like trash. All right. Now I want to massage out a little bit of that line. Not too hard that I burn this shit though. I just ended up with a little bit of liner on my stamp. I need to file that back. Be careful when you're using steel though. So when I told you about 16 penny nails, when you get done, making your maker's little handmade maker's mark there. Spray it with a little varnish. All right, let me massage that out a little bit. Okay, so we're good to go there. That's just a piece of antler, by the way. My design has a little goofy, I shouldn't say goofy, has a little crease at the top. I think that looks good. So I gotta put that in now. What a shock, I dampened the leather. What? Dampening the leather? That man's crazy, I don't know. All right, so this welt goes here. I'm gonna transfer that line up here so I know where basically my welt's gonna go up here. Because I don't want my crease to run into my stitch line. It's fine if it does. If you run your stitch line and you want to continue that all the way up the side here, I need to fix that, all the way up the side and around, do it. That's not part of my design, and so I don't want to make it look like I kind of tried to do that and it didn't turn out. It looks, fabulous. So I'm not going to do that. This is a creaser, don't need one. One of the things that's really good for leather work is a nice pair of wing dividers. Some people call these compasses. I just buff those down, and you can set whatever line you want to make here at whatever distance you want to make. I do quite a few of these, so I'm going to use this little creaser dude. I'm just going to eyeball out. Yeah, that works. I do a little bit up the strap, not much because it's hidden. And that's it's not something that adds like, look. Make sure I don't go past that line. So I made a little mark there. Okay. Like a spy hunter tune I had going there. Okay. Pat out all the way around. That just basically sets my mark for me. I'm going to use next something called a bone folder, which is some shiznibit because it's made of plastic. If it were a real bone folder, it would be this one. That would be made of, bone. This is going to be called a creaser. This is used in a lot of different industries. I'm going to use it once here. Again, this is only for this particular line. Look what I'm doing. I am what's called burnishing. I'm burnishing that mug. What I'm doing is adding some pressure, being careful, drawing this line around, creasing this, and you see how that turned to color for me? Leather's interesting, man. It'll tan up for you in a heartbeat. Skin, skin tans. Add some heat to it, you'll get a little bit out of it. So, there is bare leather, that's the wet part, and there it is burnished. So that's going to add just a little design detail. Nothing special, but I've noticed when I didn't have it in there, it didn't look as good. It looks kind of plain. Now, maybe it's just because my eyes used to it. Again, yo thing, put 2 of them in. I don't care what you do. Your sheath, your world. We're just living in it. All right, we're getting ready to glue the welt in actually here in just a little bit. We're moving pretty quickly. But before we do that, we're going to double check our rounding lines here, or edging here. And we're going to do some more edging. I'm telling you what separates the big kids from the little kids. When you see a sheath that's basically, folded piece of leather sewed together. When you see a sheath put together, big kids and little kids, is how their edging looks, man. Take time, learn how to edge, okay? Burnish, edge, burnish, finish, whatever people want to call this, man. Take your time and learn it. Again, that's what separates the big kids from the little kids. Man, you should see Paul Long's edges, man. Look like grain. It looks sick. That guy kills me. And he does so little work. That's what I love about him. Super efficient, old school. Now, part of that's just good leather. Spend your money on the leather, by the way. Don't cheap out on the leather. If you got, chance of, utility grade and level 1, when you're first starting, especially when you're first starting, man, level 1 it, man. Go for broke. 400 grit sandpaper. If it's really rough, I'll start at like 220 or something. I'm going in both directions here just at first. I'm rounding this edge over, making it look pretty, making it look round, making it look on purpose. Square edges are ghetto. If you watch my video and you come back with some trashy old square edge, I'm going to find you. I will find you and round yo edges. Just going to round this off. Taking my time. This is even hidden. I don't care. I know it's there. I know it's there, so I want it to look good. Nothing I'd hate more than you bring your sheath in to be fixed and Chuck Burrows cuts it apart and I'm like, oh man, this guy, I've seen his work before, is trash. No cool. Chuck's not going to die. We're going to keep him alive in cryogenic freeze in his brain and wake him back up and teach us how to make period leather. Chuck, tell me what they wore in the 1800s and he'll spout Bibles full of knowledge. That dude has forgotten more about period leather than I'll probably ever know. Dude knows everything. Well, on the trapping muskrat trade, they tended to use Chuck stuff. I'd like to use linen with beaver saliva on the threads because that's what the Algonquin. Wow. All right, so we got that basically wrong. Then we're going to take this same piece here. I'm not making fun of Chuck. Don't get me. He'll probably beat me up. That dude. He just knows a ton. I'm going in one direction. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's starting to shine up. And that's what you're looking for, dude. See that? That's ghetto. Tragic edge. And see how that's nice and burnished? That's what's going to be your finish work, man. And if you were to sell this piece down the road, people look at that, they'll know. Even if they don't know what to call it, they'll just know it looks good. I'll go one direction now after a while. Line that edge up. You can hear it start to squeak. That's a good thing. It means it's glazing over a little bit. Oh yeah, baby. Now who's your burnisher? Who's your burnisher? I don't know what you know. All right. Look at this real quick. I'm keeping it right on the edge here too. Art of Hand Sewing Leather by Al Stolman talks about how he burnishes. He doesn't use sandpaper, of course. That dude made all of his own tools. That dude probably used, I don't know what, old car parts and stuff, and still makes stuff looking better than mine. Use the edge to keep that supported. You don't want to fold it over and rough it up, okay? Flip that over and do this side. Al Stolman used to buy old saddles at like auctions and estate sales and what have you. Take them home, make the tools out of like nails and what have you. Invent half the stuff he did, but come up with some sweet Sheridan carving, return it to that same sales spot the next week, sell it for twice as much. That's how the dude made his money. Until Tandy, Craft Tool actually hired him and said, dude, you've been making tools forever, make tools for us, leather tools. Half the tools you see at Tandy. Al Stolman, yo. And his wife came on, she was all talented too, and they wrote like 11 billion books. Okay. So we've got some decent edging. This is just primary stuff. That's pretty smooth. Yeah, I'm happy with that in both directions. We haven't done so much that we're going to start resisting dye by glazing that too much. Now, so that's, again, just primary. We're going to come back to that. I do like to make this smoother too. I want to lay down in this direction, so that's what we're going to be doing with it. Again, dampen your leather. Just a little bit. Staying away from where we're going to glue the welt, because contact cement and wet leather, no bueno. Ask me how I know that. It leaves big black lines. Oh my goodness, I have jacked up some leather in my time. I learned by watching interweb, like you are doing right here. If you can take a class, man, from someone good, Paul Long's put on a class. I don't even know what that dude does, but if he is, man, pay the money. Just worth it. If you're a knife maker, pay the money. You will learn more in one weekend from one of these dudes. I've been learning from Stan Busick. He just tells me stuff, some just offhand sometimes. Some of it's like life lessons. I just set it aside. I got that, brother. I'm carrying that with me. Taking it home. Filing it away. I'm just basically burnishing this. And here's why. This is the money side of your sheath here, right? You're going to be looking at that. See how that glazed up, by the way? So let me show you. Hold on. There's rough side. See how rough that is? Dang, Gina. You need to make it look better than that. So, burnishing this back. what you can get, I don't think I'm going to be able to find mine, is get a couple little jars, like 4-ounce jars of DAP weld wood. D-A-P, DAP weld wood. I use the red bottle. It's got fumes though, so just know that if you want to kill some brain cells and huff some glue, that's your stuff. They make it that doesn't do that, so keep a lookout. Now, you cannot get good adhesion by gluing the flesh side, especially flesh side to flesh side. That's all smooth, dude. That's all smooth. You can't get away with that. You know, rough side to rough side you can. No, bueno. You have to rough this up. Now, you can use the back of your knife, you know, and draw little lines. That's fine too. I tend to grab some 80 grit sandpaper and rough that mug up. You don't want none of this, Mr. Welt. Pitiful. You don't want a good adhesion. Sucker. You ain't no real welt. Real welts don't act like crazy fools. Okay, we got that nailed down. Dust everywhere. Back to this poly. If you glue on your poly, the glue tends to come off. The contact cement tends to. 2 coats of glue on Yoshi's. And that's going to be pretty much everything you glue at least 2. That was my son screaming. Apparently a creeper just blowed him up. He was a nice kid too. Lost him to Minecraft. What will happen if you do not have enough glue is that the substrata of the glue, which is probably, you know, is toluene or something that's underneath this glue, soaks into the leather really quickly and doesn't leave a shiny surface. That shiny surface is what it means you've got enough contact cement on here to get good adhesion. If you've ever done countertops or anything like that, that's what you're always shooting for there. So make sure you've got something good going here. Again, use this in a well-ventilated place like I'm sure that I am right now. It's okay, I'm only a professor for a living. I don't need all my brain cells. It's philosophy too, I just make stuff up. Socrates was a woman. People be like, really? Sure. Okay, gluing that back. Careful to not go past my dotted line. I'm going to true all this up here in just a second. Careful not to go past my dotted line. 1, it acts as a resist for the dye, but 2, it's just bad form, man. Leaves trash all on the inside of your sheath. Boogers like you used to make back in high school with rubber cement all up in your sheath. Looking like what for and who'd have thunk it. Okay. Carefully taking our times, yo. We got time. If you ain't got time, put it down. Come back to it. Zen this mother out. Pow, dow. All right. So that's 1 coat. I know that's going to soak in. Watch it. I'm going to soak it in. Put a 2nd coat on here. Thin coats. Thin coats are just fine. That's almost soaked in. I'm going to do a 2nd coat, and then I'm going to crack a window in here and turn my fan on. Probably put you guys on pause and have you come back. Who wants to watch me glue stuff? Plus I got to huff like a gallon of this glue, get my drunk on. Go out and get in a fist fight, take my shirt off because I'm a white dude, fight in the front yard like I'm on cops and what have you. Get off my trailer park. Who are you coming in here to arrest me? This is my house. I don't care if you a police officer. You better call an ambulance. Okay. I'm going to pause you dudes out here in just a second. Make sure I got good coat. Just make sure it's shiny. You got good adhesion. Get yourself a flat mallet around here to tap these down in just a minute. Okay? Alright. Love, peace, and hair grease. Be right back. Alright, we're back. We're all shiny, happy people. Okay. Set this down. Any smooth hammer will work here in this case. I use a cobbler's hammer. That was what it was made to do. Follow my lines here. Got a little chamfer here that I put in to just sort of assist the knife when it goes in. So we basically got that set. Just going to tap that all the way around, making sure that my block is all clean. I don't want to tap it and have something nasty there. And I bought this thing on eBay. Look at this tiny little handle. That's a girly handle, man. Nothing against girls. Just saying. It's like a little Holly Hobby thing. Put it next to my Holly Hobby sewing kit. Don't think I don't have one. I'm secure enough in my manhood. Alright, cutting board. Just trimming that welt back. Yes, that's what you do. Okay. Taking that out. Alright, and what that should do is fold right around and go flat. Like it do. Dang, Gina. So that looks good. Now, what we're going to do is trim off the edge of this welt. See, remember I said before, you don't have to worry about how fat that is right now. Always trim it back again. Make sure you're vertical and not undercutting, or you will be sad. There will be much weeping and gnashing of teeth in your shop. Oh, maybe it's not that biblical, but you'll be sad. Start cutting yourself, listening to Screamo. It's ugly. From there on, okay, running this around. Bam. So we're pretty much set there. And look at that. Half-inch welt. We know it's a half-inch welt because we measured it, we set it to the line. Everything's good. I'm going to make this little cut here to get rid of this. Oop. Alright. Money. Money ball. Alright. Basically there. What I am going to do right now, I'm going to do this off camera. I'm going to step over to my flat platen that has a sander on it, just a little cheapy, and I'll run these edges and make them absolutely flat. Now, you can do that with your knife, just taking your time, doing like this. I just know I'm going to get better results by using the device that I have. So, use what you got, I'm going to use what I got. I'll be right back. And we're back. Set the glue away. Alright, so all I really did there is flatten off my sides. I'm still, a little fat down here, and that's okay. I'm always going to lean that way when I first do this. But there's our outline of our sheath. And what that allowed me to do with that little quick device, again, you can do this with a knife, you can do this with sandpaper, you can do whatever, is just kind of smooth up the old sheath. And again, see how we're just tracing the knife there? It's basically running the knife blade right down. I'm going to end up blunting that tip a little bit. I don't like a lot of sharp tips on leather. It's not that robust of a device to be doing that with. Sand that back to make that transition better. There. Almost there. Now we're not edging this just yet because that happens at the very end. That's the last edge we edge. There. For me that looks good. I will grab my edger just to trim this off just a little bit. I'm going to rock it back, so just take off just a little bit so you can show you kind of what I'm doing. This I can edge without any worry. Knock that back just a little bit. There. So now you can see what I've got. End result. How? That's basically how that's going to look. when she's all said and done. I haven't even wet formed this yet. You know, I wet formed the spine, but that's about it. Okay, now what we're going to do now is we're going to set our stitch lines. We're going to set 2 stitch lines. We're going to run our stitch groover, and we're going to run our stitch marker around it, and then we're going to take a break to drill this out. Actually, we're going to die it next.